Let's get back to the fun stuff. Mitch McConnell.
United States Senate, someone who has been instrumental in driving the Republican agenda for the past 2 decades, serving longer than any party leader in United States Senate history, about to announce in a matter of moments, this is it. His time is done as Republican leader.
Manu, we're going to hear. Manu, Senator
lost
McConnell is
Elaine's
talking now.
younger sister,
They're like,
Angela,
shut the fuck up, Manu.
just a few weeks ago. When you lose a loved one, particularly at a young age, there's a certain introspection that accompanies the grieving process. Perhaps it is God's way of reminding you of your own life's journey, to reprioritize the impact of the world that we will all inevitably leave behind.
Do I want Chick-fil-A? No.
I turned 82 last week. The end of my contributions are closer than I'd prefer. My career in the United States Senate began amidst the Reagan Revolution. The truth is, when I got here, I was just happy if anybody remembered my name. President Reagan called me Mitch O'Donnell. Close enough, I thought. My wife Elaine and I got married on President Reagan's birthday, February 6th. It's probably not the most romantic thing to admit, but Reagan meant a lot to both of us. For 31 years, Elaine has been the love of my life, and I'm eternally grateful to have her by my side. I think back to my first days in the Senate with deep appreciation for the time that helped shape my view of the world. I'm unconflicted about the good within our country and the irreplaceable role we play as the leader of the free world. It's why I worked so hard to get the national security package passed earlier this month. Believe me, I know the politics within my party at this particular moment in time.
He is really a turtle. He won't fucking die,
faults.
dude.
Misunderstanding politics is not one of them. That said, I believe more strongly than ever that America's global leadership is essential to preserving the shining city on a hill that Ronald Reagan discussed. As long as I'm drawing breath on this earth, I will defend American exceptionalism. So as I've been thinking about when I would deliver some news to the Senate, I always imagined a moment when I had total clarity and peace about the sunset of my work. A moment when I'm certain I have helped preserve the ideals I so strongly believe. That day arrived today. My goals when I was narrowly elected to the Senate back in 1984 were fairly modest. Do a good job for the people of Kentucky and convince them that by doing so, they might rehire me for a second term. That was it. That was the plan. If you would have told me 40 years later that I would stand before you as the longest-serving Senate leader in American history, frankly, I would have thought you'd lost your mind. I have the honor of representing Kentucky in the Senate longer than anyone else in our state's history. I just never could have imagined that happening.
He is
When I
filibustering
arrived
death.
here in 1984 at 42. I'm filled.
Do you think he thinks he's a good person? Yes, of course. Everyone thinks they're a good person. I'm sure he thinks he's a good person. I don't think you can keep up the act and live with the... people delude themselves into thinking that they're good people when they're doing like pure evil shit. all the fucking time. This is how it is. Sorry, I just responded to someone on the Yanis Varoufakis side.
With heartfelt gratitude and humility for the opportunity. But now it's 2024. I'm now 82. As Ecclesiastes tells us, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. To serve Kentucky in the Senate has been the honor of my life. To lead my Republican colleagues has been the highest privilege.
What?
But one of life's most underappreciated talents is to know when it's time to move on to life's next chapter. So I stand before you today, Mr. President, and my colleagues, to say this will be my last term as Republican leader of the Senate. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Oh, come on now. I mean, he is. There's no way. There is no way that this man is not legitimately suffering serious health complications behind the scenes. He would just keep going. There's no fucking time limit. And they love being in power and holding on. He has to be throwing in the towel because he's at death's door.
However, I'll complete my job my colleagues have given me until we select a new leader in November, and they take the helm next January.
He has 2 years of the term left, and since Cameron lost the governor's race, he'd be very pleased if he became the next senator. Yeah, they're going to put Daniel Cameron in that position. He's been grooming Daniel Cameron for a decade now.
I'll finish the job the people of Kentucky hired me to do as well. Albeit
people of Kentucky hired me to make sure that every single one of them that wants to pay for their diabetes medication will die far before they get access to insulin. My job here is done. One of the poorest states in the country. And I work tirelessly to maintain the desolate conditions for all of my constituents as I make a tidy profit on the side.
A different seat. And I'm actually looking forward to that. So it's time for me to think about.
When are liberals going to prop up McConnell as a hero, the old kind of Republican Party? Joe Biden will. Joe Biden will release a statement, if they haven't done so far, to literally say Mitch McConnell has served a phenomenal tenure in Congress. He is a statesman that I genuinely appreciate. And he is a representation of the old guard of the Republican Party that was much more manageable and much easier to deal with. He is a firm, he's a beacon of prosperity. He's a fucking committed leader. That sort of thing.
Another season.
And my friend, he will say he is his friend.
I love the Senate. It's been my life. There may be more distinguished members of this body throughout our history, but I doubt.
Oh my God, is he about to cry? What the fuck?
There were any with any more admiration for the Senate.
Nah, you're bugging. There's no way they'll give him the McCain treatment. Brother, Joe Biden has already called him his friend. Joe Biden has already talked about how he appreciates McConnell and everything he's done. Oh, Well, there you go. There you fucking go. Did this just release? Oh my God. No, literally, this just released at 2:38 p.m. Eastern Time. Pre-watched, even though it already happened. President Biden said Wednesday that he was sorry to hear Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell stepping down and praised him for his honesty. I'm sorry to hear McConnell step down. I've trusted him and we have a great relationship. We fight like hell, but he has never misrepresented anything. I'm sorry to hear he's stepping down, Biden said of his former longtime colleague in the Senate. Mitch McConnell is almost singularly responsible for one extra Supreme Court justice that is Republican, by the way, that is a psychotic reactionary, by the way, almost singularly, almost single-handedly. Mitch McConnell famously under the Obama administration, when the Senate had a Democratic supermajority, by the way, okay, Mitch McConnell famously said he is going to do everything in his power to ensure that Obama is a one-term president. And he did that. Mitch McConnell was directly a change or a solidification of the party polarization becoming permanent. The Republicans used to be obstructionist every now and then. Mitch McConnell made it so that the Republican Party was always obstructionist, no matter what, unless a Republican is in charge. And even then, still they're obstructionist, but at least they're like down to swiftly pass legislation as long as it's like deregulation of key sectors or I guess like tax cuts for the wealthy. And he did that. They obstructed everything nonstop and never got punished for it by their voters. And that is the reason why the modern Republican Party is infinitely more reactionary and infinitely more obstructionist right now. Contrast this with what Trump said about Nancy when she stepped down. Yeah, didn't he say something like, now Nancy can spend more time with her husband who's gay. With her gay husband, Paul Pelosi. Anyway, they also, as you well know, ran campaigns on how the government doesn't work, and they would make sure to defund the government. Exactly. Starving the beast is always easier under a bourgeois capitalist form of government. Okay? When you've lost Thomas Friedman, oh my God, Thomas Friedman has never seen a war he doesn't like until this Israeli genocide campaign. That's kind of crazy. Anyway.
After all this time,
I got to pee real quick.
I still get a thrill walking into the Capitol, and especially on this venerable floor, knowing that we, each of us, have the honor to represent our states and do the important work of our country. But Father Time remains undefeated. I'm no longer the young man sitting in the back, hoping colleagues would remember my name. It's time for the next generation of leadership. As Henry Clay said in this very body in 1850, the Constitution of the United States was not made merely for the generation that then existed, but for posterity, unlimited, undefined, endless, perpetual posterity. So time rolls on. There'll be a new custodian of this great institution next year. I won't surprise you to know I intend to turn this job over to a Republican majority leader. I have full confidence in my conference to choose my replacement and lead our country forward. There'll be other times to reminisce. I'm immensely proud of the accomplishments I've played some role in obtaining for the American people. Today is not the day to discuss all of that, because as I said earlier, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. There are many challenges we must meet to deliver for the American people, and each will have my full effort and attention. I still have enough gas in my tank to thoroughly disappoint my critics, and I intend to do so with all the enthusiasm with which they become accustomed. So to my colleagues, thank you for entrusting
Evil never
me
dies,
with our
boys.
success.
Evil never dies.
It's been an honor to work with each of you. There'll be plenty of time to express my gratitude in greater detail as I sprint towards the finish line, which is now
Evil never
in
dies.
sight. I yield the floor.
Literally. It's wild. He won't just retire and live the rest of his life on the beach. Crazy what being a sociopath does for you. I think at a certain point, they just do it for the love of the game, though. They love having that fucking power. Anyway, fuck Mitch McConnell. Hopefully this means that, I mean, I suspect that he's doing this because he has, like, health complications. There's no other reason why he would fucking, like, step down. Especially because he has 2 more years on his, he has 2 more years to go.